Hey everybody, this is Dev. I'm making a game called Roy G Beats, which is kind of a little musical tower defense game. It's a little bit different than most tower defense games and music games. And I want to go over with you what I'm doing musically in the game and kind of using key changes and notes subliminally to build and release tension. I think it's one of the things that makes the game a little bit more special. And you game dev folks and musicians out there might find it interesting. So, I made these quick little charts. And first I want to go over what keys I used in the game. And get everything on the screen there. Here we go. Those of you who were music students of mine, which is probably just a handful of you, will recognize this as what I used to call the sound circle. So this represents all 12 notes in the Western music scale, and as we move clockwise along this, we get higher. As we move counterclockwise, we get lower. And when you re-arrive at the same note, let's say A to A, I'm going to use A as my key example throughout this whole thing. When we move from A to A, we have gone either up or down an octave, depending on whether you went clockwise or counterclockwise. So all the key changes in the game are based on modulating either up or down a full step, a fourth, or a fifth, which in steps on this circle, which is analogous to frets on the guitar, that's moving up or down 2, 5, or 7 steps. And the keys that I chose to use, all minor keys, are A, D, E, and G. And the simplest way to kind of explain why I chose to do those are to go over these options starting with the key of A. Let's say level 1 is in the key of A, which we're going to call our root. Now I can choose to either build tension by moving up to its fourth, which is D, up to its fifth, which is E, just continue moving up, or I can release tension by going down a full step to its dominant seventh in G. Now that's pretty straightforward and it's pretty simple, and what this allows me to do when I get to the next key, let's say I decided to move up to D, now I'm in D and I can move either up a full step to build tension and go to E, or I can move up to my fourth, it's D4, which will bring me up to G, or I can move up to my fifth, D5, which will bring me up to A. So I can move around in these 4 keys pretty regularly, and once I get, let's say I'm at E, I can move down a full step to D, or up to my fourth, which is of course A. And let's say I'm in G, I can modulate up a full step to A, or up to my seventh, which is D. So using these 4 keys and focusing on those key modulations makes a lot of sense for me for a number of reasons. Now, on each level, the user has the opportunity to trigger basically their tower defense mechanism is triggering what I'm calling beat pods or attack pods or whatever. I haven't come up with a final name for them yet. But these are based on the minor 7th chord. Let me write that where you can see it. Which is the root, the minor 3rd, the 5th, and the dominant 7th. So going again with A as our example, we'll take our root as A, our minor 3rd is going to be C, our 5th is going to be E, and our dominant 7th is going to be G. Now where this comes in handy is those of you who are somewhat familiar with music theory, you know that A is the relative minor and C is the relative major here. So if you want something with the same sets of notes to sound sad, you use A as the root. If you want them to sound happy, you use C as the root. What this encompasses is this set of notes, A, C, and E. That's our A minor chord, and C, E, and G is our C major chord. So this represents both general relative major and minor tonality while we're playing in the same key, and you can have the user trigger all these notes at any given point in time. They may not be triggering in A, in which case you get a major tonality. We have C, E, and G running, or they may be triggering A and not a C, in which case you get A minor tonality running. Meanwhile, we'll have our overlay running. And the overlay is a little bit different. What I'm using here is the minor ninth chord, which is the root, minor third, fifth, seventh, and ninth. And this comes in handy, and again, you see I've got the root on A, C is the minor third, E is the fifth, G is the seventh, and B is the ninth. So as we move up to our chord, we'll see that those are the same notes that we were using in the lead, and I add the ninth, which is usually the next iteration of the chord, for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's the minor ninth chord because it uses all of these. And for the C major chord, if we extrapolate that to be a C major 7 within the key, we get C, E, and G. That's our relative major chord. And if we add its major 7th, we get B. So once again, we have the relative minor, which would be A minor, all the way running up to its ninth, and we have the relative major, C, running up to a C major 7. And these notes are all randomized in 2 different ways, up to with 13 different types randomized played together in the background on the first beat of each measure. And on top of that, the user is capable of triggering any of these notes plus a number of percussion and electronic rhythmic notes. And that's going to be in one of these keys, and we're going to modulate to a different key on the next level in order to build or release tension. So that's a little bit about the game. If you're interested, check out roygbeats.com for more information. And right now I'm allowing signups for testing, and July 8th, next Friday, will be the first week that a build will be sent out to testers. So I hope you dig it and I hope you're interested. Check out roygbeats.com for more and find us on Facebook. Thanks.